Have you ever met someone who refuses to change their mind no matter how much proof you show them? Someone who clings to false beliefs even when the facts are right in front of them? Today, we're diving into a fascinating and unsettling idea that has puzzled thinkers for centuries, the theory of stupidity. Now, stupidity is often misunderstood. It's not just about a lack of intelligence or knowledge. In fact, some of the most dangerous forms of stupidity come from people who believe they are smart. As the philosopher Dietrich Bonhoeffer once said, "Stupidity is a more dangerous enemy of the good than malice." And he was right. Unlike ignorance, which can be fixed by learning new things, stupidity is something far worse. It's a deep, stubborn refusal to accept truth, even when it's obvious. And the scariest part? A stupid person isn't just wrong, they're often proud of it. So, what makes stupidity so dangerous? First, there's the issue of stubbornness. When someone is truly stupid, not just uninformed, but deeply resistant to facts, no amount of logic or evidence can change their mind. As Mark Twain famously said, it's easier to fool people than to convince them that they have been fooled. Think about the flat Earth movement. For centuries, science has proven the Earth is a sphere. There are satellite images, astronauts' testimonies, and centuries of astronomical research. And yet, some people still refuse to believe it. Why? Because their belief is more important to them than reality. Instead of questioning their views, they double down, creating wild conspiracy theories just to keep their world from falling apart. This kind of stubborn ignorance is what makes stupidity so dangerous. It blocks progress, fuels misinformation, and creates division. But stupidity isn't just about being stubborn, it's also about oversimplifying complex issues. Many people don't like dealing with nuance. They want simple answers, even when the truth is complicated. This is why stupid people tend to see the world in black and white. Everything is either good or bad, right or wrong, with no in-between. It makes life easier for them, but it also prevents real solutions to real problems. Take climate change. For example, it's a massive, complicated issue involving science, economics, and global policy. But instead of looking at the facts, some people reduce it to a hoax, refusing to acknowledge human impact on global warming. Instead of engaging in discussion or considering possible solutions, they reject the entire issue. This kind of simplistic thinking prevents progress and keeps important conversations stuck in pointless debates. How do we avoid succumbing to the trap of stupidity? The initial step is remaining open-minded. Instead of clinging to what feels comfortable, we must be willing to question our own beliefs. We should continually ask ourselves, am I holding on to this idea because it's true, or simply because it provides comfort? Stupidity thrives on stubbornness and fear. Intelligence, conversely, flourishes through curiosity and the eagerness to learn. Thus, the next time you encounter a challenging truth, don't dismiss it, explore it. The more we challenge our own thinking, the wiser we become. In a world where stupidity poses a greater threat than malice, this might be the most crucial action we can undertake. We live in an era where information is more accessible than ever. With just a few clicks, we can learn from experts, read scientific studies, and broaden our understanding of the world. Nevertheless, despite this, we are witnessing a troubling trend, the outright dismissal of expertise. People increasingly favor personal beliefs, conspiracy theories, and anecdotal stories over well-established facts. Philosopher Bertrand Russell encapsulated this paradox perfectly when he said, "The trouble with the world is that the stupid are cocksure while the intelligent are full of doubt." Nowhere is this more apparent than in the anti-vaccine movement. Despite decades of research confirming the safety and efficacy of vaccines, some continue to reject this knowledge. Instead, they trust discredited studies, rumors, and misleading anecdotes. This isn't merely a harmless error, it has tangible consequences. Diseases once nearly eradicated, such as measles and polio, are resurfacing because people refuse to trust medical science. This exemplifies how unchecked stupidity can harm entire communities. Throughout history, great minds have warned about the boundless nature of stupidity. Voltaire once quipped, "The only way to comprehend what mathematicians mean by infinity is to contemplate the extent of human stupidity." However, stupidity isn't merely an individual failing, it flourishes in groups, making it even more perilous. When large numbers of people begin rejecting rational thought and embracing false ideas, stupidity transforms into a collective force. This is particularly perilous in the digital age, where misinformation spreads at lightning speed. Social media has created echo chambers where individuals only encounter opinions that reinforce their beliefs, excluding opposing viewpoints. The result? A world where facts become optional and truth becomes whatever people wish it to be. Albert Einstein aptly put it, "Two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity, and I'm not sure about the universe." The more people embrace falsehoods as truth, the harder it becomes to rectify them. One of the primary reasons stupidity thrives in groups is groupthink. This psychological phenomenon occurs when individuals conform to the majority to maintain harmony, even if they privately disagree. Coined by Irving Janis in 1972, it describes how dissenting voices are suppressed, leading to irrational and often destructive decisions. Imagine a company boardroom where everyone nods in agreement, not because they believe in the decision, but because they fear being the lone dissenter. This dynamic creates an echo chamber where poor ideas go unchallenged. It stifles innovation, critical thinking, and, most dangerously, the ability to recognize when something is amiss. As Jim Rohn wisely advised, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Part of that discipline involves having the courage to speak up even when it's uncomfortable. Another effect of groupthink is the illusion of invulnerability. When a group believes it is too smart or powerful to fail, it ceases questioning itself. This overconfidence leads to reckless decision-making. It's akin to driving blindfolded, convinced that nothing can go wrong. History is replete with disasters caused by this mentality, companies that collapsed, governments that ignored warnings, and civilizations that fell because they believed they were invincible. Albert Einstein once remarked, "The only thing more dangerous than ignorance is arrogance. Arrogance, coupled with stupidity, spells disaster." So, how do we combat stupidity, both individually and collectively? The solution lies in critical thinking, open-mindedness, and the courage to question. We must be willing to challenge our own beliefs, heed expert advice, and recognize when emotions and biases cloud our judgment. Most importantly, we must resist the allure of groupthink and speak out when falsehoods spread. In a world where stupidity spreads faster than truth, silence is not an option. The battle against ignorance begins with each of us because the cost of collective stupidity is far too high. Finally, there's moral certainty. When a group believes it holds moral superiority, it justifies any actions it takes. This moral certainty can lead to unethical behavior and rationalizations for harmful decisions. The group believes it acts for a higher cause, blinding it to the ethical implications of its actions. Consider the historical example of the Inquisition, where moral certainty led to horrific acts in the name of righteousness. This phenomenon isn't confined to the distant past. It occurs today as well. Moral certainty can create a perilous environment where dissent isn't merely discouraged, but deemed immoral. As Jim Rohn would say, success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying the basic fundamentals. One of those fundamentals is maintaining ethical integrity, even under group pressure. Let's examine historical instances where collective stupidity resulted in catastrophic outcomes. The dot-com bubble of the late 1990s, irrational exuberance surrounding internet companies, led to a massive stock market bubble. Investors disregarded fundamental valuation principles, resulting in significant financial losses when the bubble burst. During this period, belief in the limitless potential of the internet sparked a frenzy of investment. Companies with no proven business models were valued astronomically. Groupthink was evident as analysts, investors, and media echoed the same optimistic forecasts. The suppression of dissenting views, the illusion of invulnerability, and the moral certainty of participating in revolutionary change all contributed to the bubble. When reality struck and these overvalued companies failed to deliver, the bubble burst, wiping out trillions in market value. This serves as a stark reminder that wisdom lies in questioning consensus and avoiding collective euphoria. The 2008 financial crisis offers another poignant example. A combination of risky financial practices and a collective belief in ever-rising housing prices led to a global financial meltdown. Banks and financial institutions engaged in high-risk lending, assuming housing prices would rise indefinitely. Groupthink in the financial sector led to the suppression of dissenting voices, warning of the impending crisis. The illusion of invulnerability was evident as financial institutions believed they had devised foolproof methods to mitigate risk. The moral certainty of expanding homeownership opportunities justified increasingly risky loans. When the housing bubble burst, the repercussions were felt globally, leading to massive job losses, foreclosures, and economic instability. This crisis underscored the dangers of collective stupidity and the importance of skepticism and due diligence. The societal impact is profound. The consequences of stupidity are far-reaching. It can undermine progress, perpetuate injustice, and lead to catastrophic decisions. History is rife with examples where stupidity resulted in devastating outcomes, from the fall of empires to economic crises. As George Orwell poignantly observed, some ideas are so stupid that only intellectuals believe them. Stupidity can have dire economic and political ramifications. Consider policy failures. Poorly informed decisions can lead to economic stagnation, environmental degradation, and social unrest. When policymakers base decisions on ignorance or misinformation, the results can be disastrous. For instance, consider economic policies that ignore fundamental economic principles and empirical evidence. Such policies can result in prolonged recessions, high unemployment rates, and increased inequality. As Jim Rohn might say, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Similarly, sound economic policies require a disciplined approach grounded in evidence and expert analysis. Environmental policy serves as another example. Ignoring scientific consensus on climate change can lead to policies that exacerbate environmental degradation. Short-sighted decisions, such as rolling back protections or promoting unsustainable practices, can cause long-term damage to ecosystems and public health. This, in turn, can trigger social unrest as communities bear the brunt of environmental crises. Misguided beliefs and irrational decision-making can escalate conflicts and lead to unnecessary wars. History is filled with examples of leaders who, driven by hubris or ignorance, plunged their nations into devastating conflicts. Think about the lead-up to World War I, where a complex web of alliances, nationalist fervor, and misjudgments resulted in a war causing unprecedented destruction. Leaders on all sides believed in the invincibility of their militaries and the righteousness of their causes, demonstrating the illusion of invulnerability and moral certainty discussed earlier. Stupidity also affects the social and cultural fabric of society. Erosion of trust. When people reject facts and evidence, trust in institutions like science, media, and government erodes. Trust is the cornerstone of a functioning society. It enables cooperation, collective problem-solving, and the smooth operation of social systems. However, when stupidity leads to the widespread rejection of expert opinion and factual information, this trust begins to crumble. As Jim Rohn would say, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. Similarly, we must nurture our trust in institutions, for it's the foundation upon which our society operates. Societies that prioritize ignorance and superstition over knowledge and progress can become stagnant and regressive. Cultural backwardness occurs when societies cling to outdated beliefs and reject new ideas and innovations. This stagnation can manifest in various ways, from resistance to technological advancements to the suppression of scientific research. As Jim Rohn wisely noted, you cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. Societies must choose the path of progress and enlightenment over ignorance and regression. Consider the historical example of the Middle Ages, often referred to as the Dark Ages in Europe, where scientific inquiry and intellectual progress were stifled by dogma and superstition. During this period, advancements in science, medicine, and technology were slow, and many classical texts and knowledge were lost or suppressed. In contrast, the Renaissance marked a period of rediscovery and intellectual flourishing, driven by a renewed emphasis on knowledge and empirical evidence. So how do we recognize stupidity in ourselves and others? It's important to approach this with humility and self-awareness. Here are some signs. Inflexibility is a clear sign of stupidity. Stupid people are often rigid in their thinking, unwilling to consider alternative viewpoints or new information. They cling to their beliefs with a stubbornness that resists reason and evidence. It's like trying to steer a ship that refuses to change course, even when heading straight for the rocks. Inflexibility manifests in many ways: refusing to listen to differing opinions, dismissing new evidence, or sticking to outdated methods and ideas despite better alternatives. As Jim Rohn wisely noted, the walls we build around us to keep sadness out also keep out the joy. Similarly, the walls of inflexibility keep out growth and understanding. Consider how inflexibility can affect a business. A company that refuses to adapt to new technologies or market trends is likely to fall behind its competitors. Blockbuster's refusal to adapt to the digital revolution led to its downfall, while Netflix, which embraced change, thrived. This example illustrates how vital it is to remain open-minded and adaptable. Flexibility allows us to navigate change, embrace new ideas, and avoid the pitfalls of rigid thinking. Another hallmark of stupidity is emotional reasoning, where decisions and beliefs are based more on feelings than facts. When we allow our emotions to dictate our reasoning, we often make irrational choices. This kind of thinking can lead to a distorted perception of reality, where facts are twisted to fit emotional narratives. As Jim Rohn would say, take care of your emotions. They're the ones that make life worthwhile. However, while emotions are valuable, they must be balanced with logic and reason. Overconfidence is a common trait among those exhibiting stupidity. There is a tendency to overestimate one's knowledge and abilities, leading to poor decision-making and misguided actions. Overconfident individuals often believe they know more than they do and dismiss the expertise of others. This hubris can be particularly dangerous in leadership positions where decisions impact many people. As Jim Rohn famously said, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Overconfidence undermines the discipline needed for critical thinking and self-improvement. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a classic example of overconfidence. This cognitive bias, identified by psychologists David Dunning and Justin Kruger, shows that people with low ability at a task often overestimate their competence. They lack the self-awareness to recognize their limitations, leading to misplaced confidence. This phenomenon can be seen in various contexts, from the workplace to politics. Overconfident leaders may disregard expert advice, leading to disastrous outcomes. Recognizing the limits of our knowledge and seeking input from others can help mitigate the risks of overconfidence. We must all be willing to examine our own beliefs and behaviors. As Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Self-reflection helps us identify and correct our own instances of stupidity. It's about taking a step back, looking in the mirror, and asking ourselves tough questions. Are we open to new ideas? Do we base our decisions on facts or emotions? Are we humble enough to acknowledge our limitations? Personal reflection is the first step towards self-improvement and wisdom. Addressing stupidity requires a multifaceted approach. Let's explore these strategies in detail. While education alone isn't a cure, it is a crucial tool. Teaching critical thinking and encouraging curiosity can help mitigate stupidity. Education should go beyond rote learning. It should empower individuals to question assumptions, analyze information critically, and make informed decisions. As Jim Rohn wisely said, "Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune." We must foster a culture of lifelong learning where curiosity and critical thinking are valued and nurtured from an early age. Consider the importance of teaching critical thinking skills in schools. Students should be encouraged to engage with diverse perspectives, challenge their own beliefs, and develop the ability to think independently. By promoting an educational environment that values inquiry and skepticism, we can equip future generations with the tools they need to navigate a complex world. Moreover, education should extend beyond the classroom, encouraging adults to continually seek knowledge and stay informed. Respectful conversations can sometimes break through the barriers of stubbornness and misinformation. Dialogue is about listening as much as speaking, about understanding different viewpoints, and about finding common ground. It requires patience, empathy, and a willingness to engage with others in good faith. As Jim Rohn would remind us, the art of effective listening is essential to clear communication, and clear communication is necessary to management success. Think about the power of dialogue in resolving conflicts and bridging divides in a polarized world. Respectful conversations can help reduce tensions and build understanding, whether it's discussing political differences, addressing social issues, or simply engaging in everyday interactions. Effective dialogue can break down the walls of ignorance and foster mutual respect. It's through these meaningful exchanges that we can challenge misconceptions and promote a more enlightened society. Admitting our own potential for stupidity and being open to learning and growth is vital. Humility is the recognition that we don't have all the answers and that we can always learn from others. It's about being open to new information, willing to change our minds when presented with compelling evidence, and acknowledging our own limitations. As Jim Rohn wisely noted, humility is a virtue, timidity is a weakness. Humility allows us to approach life with a sense of curiosity and openness. It encourages us to seek feedback, to learn from our mistakes, and to grow continuously. By fostering humility, we can create a culture where admitting ignorance is not seen as a weakness, but as a step toward gaining knowledge. It's through this mindset that we can combat our own instances of stupidity and encourage others to do the same. In conclusion, understanding the theory of stupidity is not about belittling others. It's about recognizing a significant challenge that we all face. Stupidity, in its various forms, hinders personal growth, societal progress, and collective well-being. We must strive to be vigilant, fostering environments where truth and reason prevail. As Jim Rohn wisely put it, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Surround yourself with those who challenge you to think, to question, and to grow. Let us commit to fighting stupidity in all its forms, both within ourselves and in the world around us. This commitment starts with each of us embracing education, engaging in respectful dialogue, and cultivating humility. By doing so, we can create a ripple effect that promotes wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in our communities and beyond. Together, we can create a future where intelligence, empathy, and reason guide our decisions and shape our societies. It's a collective effort. It begins with each of us making a conscious choice to value and promote critical thinking, open-mindedness, and continuous learning. I hope I inspired you today. This is the Motivation Parade. Like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more. See you in the next video.